Apparently I ruined dinner last night because I used whole grain noodles instead of the regular kind. Posting here because I would like advice from other women. I don't want advice from men on this matter. Last night was really hard and has me seriously rethinking my relationship. I decided to make spaghetti, using whole grain noodles instead of the regular kind. My fiancé was pacing around while talking OTP with his mom. He came in the kitchen and read the package the noodles were in. He asked his mom if she ever used whole grain noodles, and then he looked annoyed but still tried keeping a good mood with her. When he got off the phone he asked why I got whole grain noodles and said, "Oh, you're in one of your healthy phases again. I told you not to include me in your shit." The crazy part is this isn't my first time using them, just the first time he noticed. And when I told him that, he got quiet and then said he would give it a try. Well, he tried it and didn't like it. He was mad that there weren't any other leftovers to fall back on, and that's his own damn fault because he's been eating every single thing. He's stayed home this entire week due to a back injury, and has been eating a lot, and he's been crankier than usual. So the fact that there wasn't anything else cooked for him to eat, he said I ruined dinner. I told him to go get fast food or something. He got up and started yelling at me that I was making things harder for him. I told him I understood that he was hurting but I wasn't taking the fault for it. I tried getting up and he grabbed my shoulder and sorta pushed me back down. I looked at his hand and asked WTF he was doing. He got in my face and told me I knew what I was doing and that I was being a bitch. He said it in the calmest tone, which made it hurt worse for some reason. He started limping to the living room and I followed him, telling him to change his tune, and I just let everything out that I had built up from this week. He walked to the kitchen and threw the spaghetti in the trash. I looked at him, just shocked that he would do that. He looked at me and nodded like he acknowledged that I was upset. I sorta shoved him and he fell over. It wasn't a hard shove, I just wanted him to stop. He turned dramatic and said, "So you're going to do this while I'm injured? I see the type of person you are," and he tripped me. We were both on the floor and he grabbed my hair with both of his hands. I kept hitting him to let me go and he slapped me across the face and walked outside to his car. I don't how long he was gone, but when he came back I was still sitting in the same spot. He tried being nice and begged me to get in bed with him. I was like, "Are you fucking serious, RN?" He looked at my face and said, "Do you see my face and what you did to me?" It was never that serious. He had nothing wrong with his face because I never hit his face. I was hitting his arms and gripping them with my nails so he would let me go. I feel like shit because I actually went to bed with him and let him wrap his arms around me. Anytime I moved he gripped tighter, like he was afraid that I would leave. This morning he got up and left. I'm still stuck. This relationship is not healthy and you need to leave. Editing to add. This man is abusive emotionally, physically and sexually. Ops post history is very concerning. Make a plan with trusted loved ones to leave, and to ensure you have escorts with you if you need to go back to house, and see if he cannot be there as well. Be very clear with him you are breaking up and it is best for both of you to make it a clean break. He needs to be blocked from all avenues of contacting you, except for on e-channel you can manage safely while you get your stuff etc. Then close that channel too. Don't tell him where you are going. Be very clear with friends and family they are not to speak to him or let him know things about your life. Anyone who breaks that trust should be cut from your life. You need counseling and therapy. You are not alone. You are worthwhile and you have value. You have not done anything wrong. You do not owe him friendship or the benefit of the doubt. You are not responsible. Love for his feelings or how he chooses to process the breakup. I believe in you and please be strong and safe op. Run now. Do not get married and think things will change for the better. It's harder to leave and will only get worse once the union is legal. Yes, she needs to leave immediately. It's also important that op doesn't engage in the physical violence since it sounds like he's trying to claim she is solely responsible. She needs to cut things off clean. This isn't going to get better. This is abuse. I hope op makes a plan to leave quickly and safely. This will not get better. Op, you made him a dinner he decided he didn't like. He yelled at you and got physical with you. If this happened to a friend, what would you tell her? Would you consider that abuse? A dinner he decided he didn't like but had eaten several times already and found no issues with cause his mommy said some shit about whole wheat noodles. Another argument, op. Would you want a child to grow in this household and learn that this is supposed to be how things are, since they witness it? IDK if you're with child or may think of it in the future, but unless it's a definitive, no way ever, the argument absolutely stands. Even if it's no way ever, there are no guarantees, especially the way things are for women's healthcare or lack of it these days. I've been cooking for and with my husband for almost 20 years. Sometimes things aren't great. He has never even raised his voice at me. Ever. Not one time. It's never okay. Right. My hubby would say, it's okay, I'll make a sandwich, if something doesn't turn out right. Good grief. It's called being an adult, which clearly, this guy is not one. I burnt the sacred Texas toast garlic cheesy bread one time. The kids were giving it a side eye, looked at me being all sad about it, then looked at their dad, who happily ate 2 pieces of blackened on one side garlic bread. I heard one of the boys asking him when I was down the hallway, why did we have to eat burned bread? And he told them one burned side dish wouldn't hurt them after all the work I did making them an otherwise delicious dinner. This man is a fucking monster. Yeah, sounds like a toddler but adult and abusive. This was an insane read tbh. I thought he was out of line for complaining about the food at all. If my partner cooks for us I'm appreciative and would never insult his work like that. But then he escalated to the point where it became physically abusive. Like what the fuck? Op needs to run, this relationship is dangerous. Did you miss the part where she shoved him? They're both abusive and toxic. She got physical with him first. Not okay in either direction. Greater than I tried getting up and he grabbed my shoulder and sorta pushed me back down. You said you pushed him. You guys are gonna get arrested. You need counseling. It's never okay to put your hands on someone unless it's self-defense. It's not okay just 'cause we're weaker to get physical. De-escalate, don't ratchet it up. Oh my god, fuck off. Putting your hands on another person unless self-defense isn't okay. They both escalated it and should have walked away. Someone is gonna get arrested if they don't solve problems better. Yeah, you're totally right. She should be a better victim. Women should know their place is to be abused, and to be responsible for fixing all problems. What a bitch. He's clearly awesome. Oh, I'm clearly being sarcastic and you should know that everyone thinks you're a fuckwit. No, her job was to call the police and have him arrested. Dude, I was quoting op. Calm yourself. Oh look, no one gives a fuck what you think. Back at yaw. Abuse causing reactive abuse from op. Where do you see op being abusive here? I think he was trying for that. But I didn't read anything that op did that I would call abusive or even reactive. Reactive abuse is a term that is used for when someone emotionally abuses another person to the point that they snap and respond with physical abuse. The person committing reactive abuse is not the main abuser, but may be painted as such by their abusive partner because they made the first move, escalating things to physical altercation. In this scenario, the fiancé emotionally abused op to the point that she snapped and pushed him first. The fiancé has plausible deniability that he acted in self-defense, since op got physical first, but op is not the primary abuser here. She was pushed to the point of reactive abuse by her actually abusive fiancé. When she tried to get up from the chair and he pushed her back down on her shoulder. He got physical first. Plus, I'm pretty sure he fell over on purpose to make a scene he can blame her for later, because it happened. Oh, have I seen that one before? Honestly, if the behavior was that bad because of pasta, that guy sounds like he could use the fiber too. A lot of men outsource their diet and health management to their GF spouse. She was just taking care of his guts. His scene making, man baby guts. Op cannot change how she responded, but she would have been better served if she disengaged when he went to the kitchen. Op needs tools on how to regulate her own anger and know when to walk away. Nah. Removed. She shoved someone with a back injury because they threw away food. That's abusive. Reactive or not, it's abusive. Putting your hands on someone because you're angry is abusive. Period. End of. Did everyone miss the part where he already put hands on her before it got to this point? That doesn't make her shoving and hitting him okay. He tried to walk away, she followed and kept the fight going. They were both using violence to express their anger, and it's not okay for either of them. Have you ever been in an abusive relationship? Her shoving him reads more like, "I'm not your bitch," than it does just expressing anger. Her hitting him after he tripped her and proceeded to grab her by her hair is self-defense. Not only have I been in an abusive relationship, I spent 30+ years helping women and children get out of them, and my background is in psychology. Do not attempt to condescend to me on the matter. You can try to paint this however you like, physical violence is never okay. They are both using violence. Shoving him is not an appropriate response to him throwing away the food. You can do all the mental gymnastics you like, answering violence with violence leads to death far too often. It is not acceptable. Oh, and you might want to read that again. Up until the point at which she shoved him, the only thing he'd done physically was grab her shoulder to prevent her getting up. She shoved him hard enough that he fell. The fact that you want to justify that is alarming. Is he abusive? Certainly, so is she. Haha, I don't think for a second that she shoved him hard enough for him to fall. He was acting, and you're lapping it up. Wow, lucky you're here, Sherlock. We'd have been fucked without your insight. Feel free to fuck all the way off, kiddo. Woman shrugging, medium light skin tone. That's self-defense, not abuse. He started abusing her. She reacted in self-defense. It's kind of both. You are right, it is abuse, manipulation. Deleted. ? He grabbed her by her shoulder and pushed her down when she was trying to get up and then called her a bitch. He started all the violence. Lots of victim blamers in these comments. Sad. No, he had made it physical, you kind of glossed over that part. It was his physical and mental abuse that escalated the situation. He should have considered the old adage, glass houses, stones. Reactive abuse is totally a thing. All that over fucking spaghetti and noodles he noticed for the first time but probably ate before. Op does not need to be fighting and getting hurt over fucking spaghetti noodle quality. There is a minor, very small, taste and texture difference between whole wheat and regular pasta. He only noticed because he was looking. Guy's opinion. He's a dick, and a serious one. Op should run. If he whacks her one for using the wrong pasta, WTF will happen when she does something major like burning the toast? Yeah, I know, burning toast isn't major, either. Best case scenario, it is a toxic relationship, but it looks like he is abusing her. Next time anything like this happen, you need to at least go to a doctor and get a report of what happened. And leave him ASAP. There is no excuse to get physical in a relationship, especially on a noodles discussion. There needs to not be a next time. This should be relationship ending. There is never a reason to get physical with a partner, excluding self-defense of course. Better alone than with someone like that. Edit. I somehow glossed over the fact that although you didn't start it, you pushed him too and escalated it further. You both need to separate and work on your emotional maturity. Even if this hadn't gotten physical, this guy sounds like an utter waste of space and my advice would be the same. She was reactive to what he was doing to her. He will get worse, and she'll react worse, or he'll make sure she can't react at all. Absolutely, but the safest reaction is to just leave. Getting physical is such a large boundary to cross that indicates a dangerous lack of respect. My brain was so horrified by the temper tantrum he had about what kind of noodles were in dinner I actually glossed right over that myself. Op handled the situation poorly, and BF instigated a fight. This relationship is toxic. Even from asking his mom to verify noodle choice, tears of joy. He's got the energy for wrestling, he's got the energy to make himself ramen. That he even expects Op to be the food vending machine, the passive-aggressive throwing good food Op likes into the trash. So many things that no one can live with permanently. And Op chooses to escalate, not walk away. I dread what any children of this union might experience. NCE. Greater than I tried getting up and he grabbed my shoulder and sorta pushed me back down. Op did try to walk away. Fiancé escalated it physically, which then led to OP's escalation. I'm not denying things are toxic here and that both need to get therapy, though not couples therapy. Abusers can twist that to their advantage, but I don't think it's appropriate to level the blame here because we don't know how much physical and emotional abuse Op has experienced before she snapped. This is often the case. For abused women who finally fight back or snap because they've taken so much abuse for so long, people then think, oh, see, it's an issue with both of them and she's crazy, just like he said she was, without understanding the history of the dynamic. ETA, it looks like in OP's post-history, fiancé has sexually assaulted her and this is indeed an ongoing abuse dynamic where he is always the instigator. Looks like he's also trying to separate her from her family, as abusers are wont to do. He handled this poorly, isn't the issue, it's, she needs to get out ASAP. Thank you for making this point. The same dynamic through and through, victims avoid, abusers pursue. Nauseated face. Fair point. She may have snapped and zero about his words or behavior is excusable. She admits to her part in the escalation. Further, battered women syndrome, aka, I ruined dinner, Noop cooked dinner and he ruined dinner, emotionally then literally destroyed it. I'm not meaning to minimize what he did. She needs to at the very minimum suspend the engagement. BF being in pain excuses Crabbins, but he takes zero responsibility for being crabby. Instead he externalizes all his anger at her. In a way it's a good thing she doesn't just be a doormat to that behavior, but still I think she needs to work on communicating before going into a next relationship. I think she should tell his mom that after he spoke to her and asked about whole wheat noodles, he refused to try them and then threw the good food into the garbage. That might raise her eyebrows more than the physical stuff. Op specifically said she didn't want any advice from a guy. So why are you giving your opinion? I also date men and know what I would or wouldn't accept in a relationship. Person shrugging light skin tone. Op got physical first. They're both terrible people. Edit. Jesus Christ. I missed a single sentence. No, he put his hands on Op first. He pushed her back down when she tried to get up off the sofa. But her shoving him wasn't in self-defense or in response to him pushing her shoulder down. There was no excuse for either of them to get physical. They both escalated this. He comes off worse due to who is telling the story. It's not good. Agreed, I do think he comes off really badly overall. It's not a good relationship for either of them and she needs to get out. Missed that part, thanks. You didn't miss anything. You concocted in your own mind what you wanted to read, which was, women bad. Sit down. We are all human here, not robots. We can miss things, especially as the amount to read gets longer, and it is good when people miss things and admit that mistake that we don't jump on them and accuse them of lying. Unless you would rather people buckle down and admit no wrong? What are you, the self-appointed guard dog of people that say dumb shit? Well, at least I am not an aggressive person attacking people for admitting mistakes. I'll take that one and leave you to be perpetually angry at people like that. They did not. Their fiancé pushed them first. Did we read the same thing? He pushed her down when she tried to stand up. Now, that guy sounds awful right off the bat. Don't agonize over staying in the moment. But take action now. It is not going to get better over the long term. Yay, you got into a fist fight with your partner, sounds like it should be over. Obviously, yes. Op, since you're in one of your healthy phases again, how about cutting this unhealthy bit out of our life, along with plain white pasta? Right, first I was like, oh, this is a little messed up, but by the end it's a full nope from me, dog. I slapped my ex, and then I broke up with him. IDC who is at fault, whether it was deserved, or what anyone else might say. Once it gets physical, it's over. Otherwise it always escalates. That's still the only physical altercation I've had with a partner, so over 9 years later I do feel I made the right choice. The man I met after that is now my husband, and I do the cooking because he will eat a NY thing and I'm picky. He wants in on my healthy things, and would never even dream of throwing my hard work in the garbage. Put that man where he put your noodles, Op. Ditch this guy, meathead, who can't eat whole grain noodles. You should listen to Michelle Wolf, it will make you feel better. https://youtube.be/lb-schwangb8. Hijacking BC, it's necessary. Girl, this is textbook abuse and I won't go into my personal experience, just please understand you need to leave. Message me if you need help or advice. Bullseye. You need to get out of there. Don't announce it to him, just quietly leave when he's away or busy, or get a trusted friend to come be with you when you do it. He sounds like the kind of guy that could get very dangerous when he finds out you're leaving, so don't tell him until you're already safely gone. Do not, under any circumstances, marry this guy. I'm sure he'll pull out every trick in the book, flowers, apologies, swearing up and down he'll be better, whatever love bombing he thinks will. I'll keep you on the hook. But he already showed you who he really is. Believe him. Before they hit you, they hit near you. Please 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 leave OP. I wouldn't even know where to start. I know he's gonna be up my ass for the next few days. I'm just lost and don't care anymore. Please get away from him. This relationship will take everything from you, and add nothing but trauma. Don't worry about what he's going to do or how he's going to cope, he's an adult, he'll figure it out. Do what you need to be safe. Seriously listen to this above comment. I am still dealing with the trauma of an old relationship 15 years later. It's not worth it. Yeah, I'm 8 years out and still haven't dated C trauma and fear of a repeat. No way is it worth the risk. I'm 10 years out and I'm still leery of getting into another relationship. I don't see the point in even doing it. I love my life, I love living alone, I can afford my life, my home is clean and perfect. You're right, there's really no point if you're happy. Gonna be a lot more 4B ladies in the future. What's 4B? https://theweek.com/culture-life/what-is-south-korea-4b-movement. 3 years, me. Please leave op. You can't fix him and you can't save him. He is responsible for himself. You need to prioritize yourself and get the fuck out. You don't want to keep building up memories like this, that make you feel small, scared, ashamed, and alone. That's not who you are and it's not how your life has to be. 13 years for me and I will never date again. 13 years for me. I did try dating one guy 3 years ago and it went about as well as you'd expect, not only because we weren't compatible but because the trauma from my previous relationship, which ended in 2011, came to the forefront. Luckily I realized I was not doing well and started seeing a trauma therapist, which has been amazing. Still have no desire to date though. What does the trauma therapist do? Do you still have nightmares? There are a lot of different trauma modalities. My therapist mostly uses one called accelerated resolution therapy, ART, which uses bilateral eye movements similar to EMDR if you are familiar with that. She also started doing a modality called brain spotting recently, though I don't think that has helped nearly as much as ART. I went from testing as having PTSD to not having PTSD in probably a year and a half, maybe less. ART essentially desensitizes the emotional responses to things that used to trigger me. I used to have emotional flashbacks frequently and it's been many months since the last time that's happened. I remember it because I told my therapist I had one and it occurred to me I hadn't had one in forever. Plus I was able to more easily work through it and calm myself down than ever before. It's been absolutely amazing. Interesting. Maybe I'll try it. I finally only have nightmares about once a month, but when I finally divorced him it was every single night, horrible ones. 20 years later for me. And mine was just financial and emotional abuse. Yep, I've been celibate for 6 years because it took me a year just to financially recover from the last one. Because of it I'm so completely uninterested in dealing with them ever again. My partner and I both were single for 8 years before we met. I still get flashbacks from my ex and also my mother from childhood to adulthood. We're both dealing with past trauma. Please leave. It's hard but a lifetime of abuse is not worth it. I left my ex to save myself. Save yourself, advocate for yourself. You deserve peace. I had this relationship. It ended when I barely avoided them trying to punch me in the face because I was talking too loud, i.e., I wasn't whispering. It took me a month to get out. It was hell, but it was worth it. You need to get out now, before you're dodging punches to the face too. They always escalate. Greater than I wouldn't even know where to start. Start here. There are people you can talk to. https://www.thehotline.org https://www.thehotline.org. You start by calling a trusted, safe person to pick you up, if needed. You then pack your things, nothing of his, nothing jointly owned, just yours, and you leave. There is nothing to say except I am leaving you now. Goodbye. If you have a shared account, take out what is yours immediately. Begin disconnecting from everything you own together or share. Do not under any circumstances tell him where you are staying, and do not post anything on social media. Consider filing a police report, even though you defended yourself. Take a deep breath. You dodged a much worse situation. Please stay safe. I need to leave, but I don't want anyone questioning things. I would go stay with my best friend for a few days, but I know she'll be concerned and I don't feel like explaining or hiding things. I want to make a suggestion for you to think about. Think about why you don't want to tell her. Your best friend is your best friend for a reason. They will be by your side no matter what. She's your sister you chose. Do you not want to tell her because you are embarrassed? Or maybe you think she won't believe you? I was that way. I didn't tell her how bad things were. I also stalled because I wasn't sure if I really wanted to leave him, so there wasn't a point in telling her. Then he threatened me with a gun. I had to tell her. I knew my safety was at risk and I needed help. I also knew if I told her that she would hold me accountable and make sure I left. No going back. She was the most supportive that anyone has ever been. Our relationship got better somehow. She made me feel sane. She suggested things for me to do. She talked to me on the phone while I packed and panicked. It was wonderful and much needed. Also, I see you responding saying that you aren't sure what to do. That's another reason to talk to her. You have so many emotions right now, you aren't in a good place to brainstorm. So Bestie will be able to help you with that, and give you some relief with ideas and research and plans. Best of luck, heart. I need to stay with you and I am not ready to explain why. Or write it down and let her read it. Tell her everything. Abusers thrive making you ashamed to tell people. As if you're the one that did something wrong. He assaulted you multiple times. Tell your friend. I think maybe you don't want to tell your friend because she'll try to talk sense into you when you decide to go back. A relationship that's so problematic that you can't talk about it with your closest friend is not a healthy relationship. Right now this man is testing the boundaries. At some point he'll apologize and blame his back pain and say he wasn't himself, and guilt trip you about abusing him when he was injured. Then you'll figure everything is totally okay until the next time it happens. It will happen, and it will be worse, and it will be even harder to go to your friend for help when you've kept it secret for so long. This tracks for me. Looking back on my life, my best friend was in 3 consecutive abusive relationships. I'm ride or die as fuck for her, but she hardly ever talked to me about the relationships. I think she was embarrassed about what she put up with, more so maybe BC I'm such a feminist, but I never would and never did judge her. It's so hard to work through the conditioning to put up with this shit from men. But she is finally out of the pattern and she talked about it being like quitting smoking. You don't want to tell someone if you're scared you can't do it, BC, then they might hold you to it or judge you for failing. Frowning face. And when my ex that I lived with was abusive, I also hid it. The worst things. Because I knew they were deal breakers, that I was supposed to leave, but I didn't want to for some reason. I didn't believe those things were him, I thought they were episodes. Pushing me hard towards the railing of the balcony where I could have fallen. A broken bone in my foot. Creaming in my face. Even that he wouldn't help me when my car was breaking down, I just dealt with that myself. Our friends love us, they can see outside of the patterns we're stuck in. We should let our best friends help us. And not wanting to talk to the people closest to us about something is a really good indicator something very dark is going on in our lives and thought patterns. I know you must be bone tired, exhausted, because that is what abusive relationships do to you. It's part of the trap to keep you there. It's not your fault you are in this situation. I really hope you can reach out to some experts in this, some are linked in comments in this thread. You don't have to feel this way forever. You deserve to feel safe and happy and get your life back. You can feel differently one day if you get away from this. Things can be better. Wishing you all the energy and strength I have, RN. You have a lot of people rooting for you. A best friend should know how to make you safe, don't judge you, and help with your situation. If you think you can count on her, then explain and ask for help in keeping this contained until you know what to do. Let her read this post. Friend, shame will not save your life. He should be ashamed of himself, not you. I know a guy with anger issues whose girlfriend left him when he was temporarily blinded from a surgery, which sounds harsh. His next girlfriend married him. He hit her when she was pregnant. Then, they got in a fight where he strangled her in front of the months-old baby. She kicked him out, but they got back together again because she thinks baby needs both parents. She is making comfortable money and the guy can. Even find a decent job. Pretty sure he has cheated on her ever since. This is not the kind of life you want. That first girl definitely dodged a bullet. Every decent human would be concerned. We here are concerned, and we're not even your close friends. I think it's very valid not to want to explain things for a bit, but maybe also ask yourself why you would feel like you need to hide things. If it has even only a small bit to do with feeling ashamed for your situation, I would really urge you to be open about it. Rather soon than later. 'Cause most of the fear and shame you feel is probably instilled by him. And he is abusive, so the more you are hiding, the better he can control you. The fewer people you have to reach out to, the better he can control you. Of course you can ask your friend for help and talk about how, for at least these few days you need a place to go but don't want to explain too much. A good friend would respect that. But a good friend would still be concerned. It's a sign she cares. Shaming you and hitting you is not. Please go to your friend, please. Red heart, you deserve genuine care and love. Yes, it's the shame, and I don't want anyone looking at me differently. I used to think that hiding these things was helping me in a way, like I'm actually in control of it, and since no one knows, then I still have my image that isn't tainted. Telling my best friend or family the truth feels too shameful right now, and everyone will be disappointed. Fuck, this is awful. You deserve so much better than this. Everyone deserves better than this. First, it's okay to say to your friend, hey, things are really tough right now. Can I come stay with you for a few days? I'm overwhelmed, and not ready to talk about what's happening yet. Let me know that's okay. This is allowed, and I wouldn't hesitate to support my friend if I got a message like that. Second, I'm sorry you are worried about disappointing people. If anyone is actually disappointed in you because you've spoken up about being abused, fuck 'em. Seriously, fuck 'em. Easier said, I know. But sane, mature people who love you would never feel disappointed in you. At most, they'd be disappointed for you, because they want you to be happy and well. And I'm sorry your abusive soon-to-be ex-fiancé has convinced you that you are responsible for everyone else's feelings. I'm sorry he's made you feel like you need to keep everyone happy, but yourself. It's not true. He's clearly got guilt tripping you down to an art. What a shithead he is. Third, you've got absolutely fucking nothing to be ashamed of. You didn't ask for this, you didn't cause this. You're not stupid, and he doesn't abuse you because you let him, or because you're weak. He abuses you because he's a despicable excuse for a human being who doesn't see you, or most others probably, as real people, as separate individuals. He abuses you because he's a broken man who took advantage of all your kindness, strength, and love. He should be ashamed, not you. He is shameful. You know he's been training you to feel like his fuck-ups are your fault? This is why, because now you feel like you deserve to be ashamed because he abuses you, and this means you're less likely to tell anyone. Which means you don't get to hear other perspectives from people who love and respect you. You only get his poison in your ear. He's made you feel like you can't tell anyone the truth. So fuck him, tell someone you trust. You deserve to be seen and loved. Fourth, I'm so incredibly sorry he raped you. I just want you to know that his touch doesn't stain your skin. So yeah, people like your fiancé are the shit stains on the months-old underwear of humanity. Please talk to someone, and please get out. Just leave when he's not home and never go back alone. Well, didn't expect to read a comment that resonated with me this much. I'm crying. This has really validated me and made me think harder about reaching out. Thank you for taking the time to tell me this. You are so very welcome. I couldn't sit here and watch another good person have their reality twisted by an abusive asshole. One thing I can promise you, despite not knowing you, is this. His behavior is not, and has never been, because of you. There's nothing you could do, or could have done differently that would have made him stay the same man you fell in love with. This is not your fault. This is a link to, why does he do that? It's highly recommended for people going through you're going through. %20 that _20 inside %20 the %20 minds %20 of %20 dash %20 Bancroft %2c %20 Lundy.pdf. Adding on op because when I opened up to my friends and family about my abuser, it turned out they all didn't like him and noticed red flags I couldn't see through rose-colored glasses, they just looked like flags. You'd be so surprised of the support you can receive. If anyone in your circle isn't willing to do that and wants to shame and blame you, then fuck them. They're just like your ex-fiance, but in different clothes. And if push comes to shove, look into women's shelters in your area. Hey, are incredible resources during a really scary and uncertain time. Also, TBH, if I were you, I would play nice with ex-fiance. Don't let him know you're leaving. Put the ring back on. Everything is fine. No reason to worry or love bomb you. Don't keep any of your plans to leave written down anywhere at all. Not in texts or notes or anywhere. If you must do a Google search, try to do it from a different device just in case he's the kind of guy who has hacked your iCloud or has a keylogging software installed. All of this. The only person whose behavior is shameful is him. Please be safe, and please get away as soon as possible. I understand that you feel ashamed, and please know that this shame is not yours. It belongs with the man who physically assaulted you. The cycle of abuse keeps rolling because people aren't able to move out from under the weight of shame. We break free from shame when we let the secret out to people who will love us unconditionally. Please find a friend or family member who will support you in this time. Isolation only makes this worse. And it will embolden him to do worse. Looking at your post history, he has sexually assaulted you, cheated on you, and now is physically abusing you. Leave before he kills you. It's actually a very real possibility. Leave before you have children with him, children that he will most likely abuse physically, emotionally, and even sexually. Do you want to have a partner you don't feel comfortable leaving you kids with because he will eventually hurt them? If any of your friends were raped or hit by their partners, would you encourage them to stay? Do you want your daughter, son to be raped by their father? Ask yourself that, because it's a real possibility. Do you think your kids will forgive you if their father abuses them and you knew he was an abusive man before marrying him? Sweetheart, I've worked in the field of violence for a while. There is no one type of person that experiences it. And there are people walking around you every day who have survived. The shame is not yours, give it back where it belongs. If he has demeaned you once, controlled you once, hit you once, he will do it again. He just will. And I'm fucking sorry that you have to be the one who is inconvenienced now and feeling awkward. But it's better than being unsafe. If you were my friend and you told me everything, I would be furious and indignant on your behalf. I wouldn't think badly of you in the slightest. But when you leave, you could always tell them you're not ready to talk about it, but you need a few days. Honestly, the people around you aren't dumb. Your friends and family will probably, if they haven't already, picked up on the fact that there's something going on under the surface with you. I think it's more shameful to think you can fool them with your double life than anything. However, I don't think you have anything to be ashamed of, period. The only thing that is going to disappoint your family and friends is your choice to stay with an abuser, and that you felt like you couldn't reach out to them. If the role was reversed and your best friend was being abused, would you be disappointed if she came to you and said, "I need help"? No way. Give yourself the same grace. There is nothing shameful about getting out of a bad situation. That's exactly the way abusers want you to feel, so you stay. I doubt anyone will be disappointed. If anything, they will be proud that you value yourself and well-being enough to get away from this abusive situation. Please don't wait until this escalates. Your image isn't more important than your life. That's how abusers win. It's actually the strong thing to do to reveal your vulnerability and reach out for help. You don't get to the "I'm a woman who got out" without help. My good friend escaped a toxic and escalatingly abusive relationship a few years ago. I had not one single thought of judgment against her. I just was furious at this guy and so glad she could get out and to be a very, very tiny part of helping her. Those will be your friend's main feelings too. These situations happen to all sorts of women from all walks of life. Just look at all the public figures, strong, brave, intelligent, successful women, who have been taken advantage of by awful men. He big one for me is always Mel B from the Spice Girls. It's nothing to be ashamed of. He is the one who should feel shame for the rest of his life, and I bet he won't for even a minute. Please save yourself. You are strong enough to do this. Greater than telling my best friend or family the truth feels too shameful right now, and everyone will be disappointed. They already know. They're just waiting for you to be ready to ask for help. And this is what he's counting on, that you're too embarrassed, scared, etc. to escape. People here are giving you great advice, a lot of it from their own sad experience. Listen to them and save yourself from what will happen next. Women and girls in all walks of life are subject to abuse. It's not a reflection on you. It's a reflection on the abuser and what a total puss they are. Don't absorb that guilt. They won't be disappointed in you. They may be sad that it happened to you, disappointed in themselves for not seeing it or being able to help sooner, but they won't hold that against you. Our shame is one of the biggest things that abusers use to hold power over us. You can take that away from him. And you can take it away from other abusers by speaking up and giving other victims a chance to see that it can be done. You can do this, and you'll look back on it and see how strong you really are. I promise. You have nothing to be ashamed of. This happens to so many women. You need to make an exit plan and go before this man breaks you down any further. Would you rather be ashamed or dead? Because that's a very real alternative right now. Please don't feel ashamed. I know lots of others have said it, but it's true. I've gotten out of 3 abusive relationships. I'm not telling you this to make you scared, I'm telling you this because there are patterns to how these things play out, and also because if I can do it 3 times, you can do it this time. He's going to say things that make you scared to leave or stay gone. He'll tell you that nobody else will ever love you and other things to belittle and demean you. They are. And true. Abusers fear losing control, and they say these things hoping you'll believe them. Don't listen to him. He may also yo-yo between saying mean things and then saying sweet things. Don't listen to the sweet things either, it's textbook manipulation. Also, you might be afraid to talk about it right now because you're still in it. I know for me it was much easier to talk about with my friends and family after I had been away from my abuser for a while. I've seen other women do it too. It's just disassociation, it's your brain trying to protect itself during a traumatic event. So the advice that women are giving you about just going to your friend's place and tell her you're not ready to explain yet is fantastic advice you should listen to. Once your brain recognizes you're in a safe space, you will find it easier to open up. Another thing, think about if the roles were reversed with you and your best friend. I'm actually dealing with my best friend with this right now because he guy she's with is controlling, and I just want to punch him in the face for her sometimes. Notice how I still talk about her as my best friend and he's the controlling asshole. I promise you that your friend isn't going to judge you, she's going to want to protect you. She's not going to be mad at you, she's gonna be big mad at this guy, the first promise. Lastly, if you need advice or another ear from somebody who's been through it, my inbox is always open. Black Heart. Hey, you're getting a ton of replies, but I feel the need to speak up because I've been right where you are. So many days I questioned the relationship and why I let him yell at me for ruining dinner because I made something that had onions as an ingredient and I knew he hated onions and it was all my fault he couldn't eat something good for dinner. I didn't want to tell anyone when he threw things at me in a rage. I was ashamed that I let myself get into an abusive relationship and that my friends and family would treat me differently or feel bad or sorry for me. When I finally told people, no one felt bad for me. They told me I was strong for leaving. They helped any way they could. They helped me move stuff out when I needed to. Please tell your friend. Ask for help. Please get out before it gets worse. Because it will get worse. He won't change no matter how much he promises he won't do it again. He might blame the pain like my ex blamed his mood swings and bouts of anger on his beats causing his blood sugar to spike. But that's not the cause. Lots of people can be in pain, or have blood sugar swings, without yelling at and pushing someone that made them dinner and without throwing out the food you spent money to buy and time to make. Without throwing you to the floor. The shame is the hardest part to get through. It's easier to tell strangers on the internet that it's going on, however, it's harder when it's those people close to us. It's hard. The first people I told when I was in an abusive situation were ready to come up to where I was and catch a murder charge. Start by testing the waters. Be like, can I talk to you about some stuff that's been going on with X? If they sound like they're receptive to hearing it, then continue. The shame you're feeling about telling it is part of the abuser's playbook. Don't let the point when they find out be when you die. I also second what someone else in here said about contacting the National Domestic Violence Hotline. They are super supportive and have the access to resources such as shelters and all. Thehotline.org. There is nothing more respectable than a person choosing to save themselves and walking away from abuse. Fuck his reputation, your life is more valuable. I can sadly relate to this, it's very common to feel this way. You don't have to explain everything, but you will feel better once you've opened up to someone you trust. From my experience, if you explain firmly you're not ready to speak about it, but something serious has happened and you need time first to calm down and center your thoughts, sort of ride out the intense emotions first, then figure out how and what you're alright with explaining to them. It might all kind of feel like a horrible emotional blur of misery that you can't quite articulate yet. A good supportive friend or family member will respect and understand this. Also, at least from my experience, just beginning the conversation is really all you have to do. Don't worry or try to predict how someone may respond and how you'll reply. At least in my experience that's pretty impossible, and once you begin it will flow naturally. Just remember, you are not to blame and you did nothing to bring this upon yourself, Then though I'm sure he's telling you that you did, that's also the standard abuser routine and they can be very convincing, legitimately terrifying. He's gaslighting you, projecting his abusive actions onto you. I'm so sorry this is happening, you sound like a genuinely kind person who deserves so much better. Sending you healing and loving energy. I know what you mean, it's like having an addiction. When you're in it and hiding it from the world, it's the most shameful thing you can imagine. People finding out seems like it will be the end of the world. But then they do find out, and they help you get out of the mess you're in, and eventually you can look back on the whole thing without being ashamed anymore. It's like a huge weight being lifted off of you, or the lights being turned on in a dark, scary closet. One day you'll look back and realize there was nothing to be embarrassed about, it wasn't your fault or a reflection of who you are. It was just a very bad thing that happened to you. If you're not good at explaining, just send her a text. You could even send this post. You need to end this relationship immediately. He will escalate. It will only get worse. Once you're married, he'll likely get considerably more violent and controlling. If this is his place, pack your stuff when he's not home, and get out. If it's yours, have the police there when you tell him to pack and leave. I had a best friend text me at 3 a.m. and ask how much I loved her, because she needed a favor. My response: more than anything. Am I helping you hide a body? Do you need money? Do I need to look up flights? She needed a ride from the airport on her visit and knows I hate early mornings. Tears of joy. I had a friend, good friend, not best, move in for 6 months last year, and she's back. Her wife is abusive, and there's a lot I still don't know. But she'll have a safe place to stay and she'll tell me she's ready. The only things I need to know, are so I can offer support, like the wife was food controlling, so I make sure we have lots of options and don't throw food out without a text first. Your best friend will be concerned because this situation is concerning. Hell, I'm concerned and we've never met. But you don't need to dive into anything you're not ready for. I know this is a lot, but you deserve better. Your fiancé should be a safe person, not an unsafe one. You deserve feel safe in your home. Please take care of yourself. Look, a lot of women don't leave because they get physical back, so they believe that they are the abuser. And their abuser gaslights them into believing that they are the abuser. What you described to us is classic physical abuse. Sure, retaliating doesn't make you look like a perfect innocent angel, and that's fine. You don't need to be a perfect innocent angel to be a victim of abuse. Do you really want to live this way? Do you want to bring a child into this situation? What are you going to do when this escalates and he tries to kill you? It will only get worse from here. You can do this. You deserve better. Fuck KK, bullseye. My ex had broken ribs and was covered in scratches because I just scratched whatever I could while he was choking me. Cops still hauled him off to jail and me over to the paramedics to get stitched up. Fighting back is survival, not abuse. It makes me sad that anybody could blame themselves. Girl, talking about uncomfortable topics is way easier now than doing it from a grave later. I am sure your best friend will let you stay there with no questions asked for the time being. So I would not worry too much about that. If she is your friend, then she will leave you alone and will know when you are ready to talk. Just tell her that, friend, would it be all right if I stayed with you for a few days? I'm in a rough spot, but I need you to not ask any questions right now. I'm not up for talking about it yet. Don't wait, it isn't going to get any easier than it is right now. The longer you spend with him, the more tied up things are going to feel. Now is the time. So tell her the truth. You need someone on your side, and your best friend is a good choice. You don't deserve to be abused, and a man who abuses you doesn't love you. Love isn't violent or cruel. You don't have to tell anyone anything except that you need to leave. You're hiding things because you feel embarrassed to admit to anyone what's actually been going on. Because you know that the minute you tell the truth to anyone who cares about you, you are making it real, and there is no going back from that. Trust me on this. Tell everyone who you trust. It's only when you tell the truth that you will get the help you need and deserve to leave this hellscape of a relationship. There's a really good chance that people have already guessed the truth. They are waiting for you to reach out. I was embarrassed to share with my family and friends how bad my abusive ex got before I asked for help. One night my dog woke me up gently, and he was standing over me with a metal baseball bat and said, "I want to make sure no one can get to you. Don't let it get that bad, girl." It started with basic criticisms of my cooking. Then he cut me off from my family and friends. Then the real abuse started. I was alone. I started to keep an e-journal in case he did murder me, but the baseball bat was he wake-up call. I emailed that journal to my best friend in my family and a lawyer. But guess what? I wasn't alone. My friends and family helped me get out while he was at work. I picked a date and everyone drove hundreds of miles from all over CA to get me out. Trust in the people that actually care about you, and then when you are free, take the time to heal and put the work into yourself to ensure you don't end up in the same position. This is your wake-up call. Don't let it get any worse. Make a plan. Tell your friends. Get out. Honey, I rescued my best friend twice from abusers. I didn't ask questions, I picked her up so fast, her head spun. She lived with me for 6 months the second time. If she asks, either tell her or say, "I'm still processing it, I just need to get away from him," but you should tell her what you're dealing with. Go stay with her. Pack your important papers, your sentimental items, anything you can't handle losing, and enough clothes, and just go. This fight was over spaghetti noodles. It won't stop there. He's testing what he can get away with. Please leave and don't look back. When you need to retrieve the rest of your stuff, never go alone. Call the sheriff's office for an escort if you can't get beefy friends to go with you. The reason you don't want to tell your best friend is you're embarrassed. Think about that. The man that you thought loved you makes you feel embarrassed. You feel embarrassed for yourself and you feel embarrassed for him. Your best friend is not going to think less of you. She will definitely think less of him, and that's actually a good thing. You need that kind of motivation to never go back. You can do this. You need to do this. My bestie and I were both in abusive situations and didn't tell each other the full extent of what was going on. I wish we had. We could have helped each other and supported each other so much better. Please tell her everything, black heart. If you're not ready immediately, that's fine. Maybe just tell her it needs to be a no questions asked type situation until you're ready to go fully into it. She's your bestie, she will understand and she will support wholeheartedly. And you need to tell her. It's not you who needs to be ashamed, it's him who needs to be shamed for his behavior, and everyone needs to know what a piece of shit he is. By not telling, you're isolating yourself from others, and that's exactly what he wants. Send her this post. You cannot stay with this man. Don't worry about others questioning things, your priority is your safety. Having to live in fear of using an ingredient your partner doesn't like is no way to live. Get out now. If she's truly your BFF, she'll get you out of there, no questions asked, and no judgment. If you have to, tell her you need her help, immediately, and you would appreciate it if she didn't ask any questions for the time being. She'll understand, she cares about you and your safety. Once you're safe, you can tell her as much or as little as you want, but you have to get to a safe place first. You need to take your well-being more seriously. Please. Yeah, he's counting on that. Grab important documents. Throw some clothes in a bag. Go to your friend and explain. She will understand. It's better to do that than risk more violence. Your life could be at risk. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. This is a guy willing to hurt you over pasta. If this was your best friend, what would you want them to do? Would you want them to tell you? To find safety in you? Friends protect friends. You need to pack and put your stuff in storage. Just send her the link to this post. It's an emergency, so stop being picky about who gets to know or who questions it. In the larger picture, a year or 5 years from now, it won't matter if your friend knows or not. What matters is that you got out in time. Focus on what matters. This. Backhand index pointing up light skin tone. And take all the food. What an AH. You'll really not know where to start once you are married and he's beating the shit out of you all the time and you are tied to him even more. You need to figure it out today. You'll really not know where to start once you are married and he's beating the shit out of you all the time and you are tied to him even more, asterisk asterisk asterisk. With 2 or 3 innocent little ones to take care of, asterisk asterisk asterisk. You need to figure it out today, before you have additional little mouths to feed. Please listen to what everyone here is saying. If you stay, things will almost certainly get worse, and as time goes on, asterisk 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 especially asterisk 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 if you end up having children together, it will only get more complicated and more difficult to leave. Children are always the collateral damage in abusive relationships like this. You will end up having children with him. You feel trapped now? How about the first time he slaps your toddler across the face? And you've been stuck at home with no job because he doesn't want you to work, but be a mom, so you're completely dependent on this man? This is the easiest time to leave. It's now. Greater than you might end up having children with him. Fixed that for you. Really unnecessary comment. I meant what I said. I didn't ask for anything to be fixed, so you didn't do it for me. The path she's on will lead to having children. This type of guy will refuse to take any accountability for birth control or will undermine her birth control attempts as a means to control her. They're already thinking marriage. You don't think he has an expectation she be traditional and have kids? To guys like this, kids are a way to control women. Guys like this, microwave pills or poke holes in condoms to baby trap women. She needs to get out yesterday. Greater than don't care anymore. This is how you know it's time to end the relationship. If I saw what you described happening outside, I would call the police. That's really all you should need to know. This guy fucking sucks. I just took a peek at your post history. You deserve better. I think it's time to exit this relationship. Do you have shared finances? Is your house rented or mortgaged? Get your important documents somewhere safe. If you work, then that's a good place, if not a trusted friend or relative or even a locker in a gym. Start carefully moving precious things like family photos to a safe place, under the guise of decluttering if needed, so he can't destroy them when you leave. Make sure your fiancés are secure. If you share a bank account, get a new one and get your wages paid into that. Lie and say it's an EU rule for your employer if needed, but continue to pay into the joint account a set amount of money. If you have separate accounts anyway, change all your login details, PINs and passwords. Find somewhere to go, a friend, a colleague, a relative, that is safe and will have your back. Set up a new and unguessable email address with unguessable password and change all your logins to that. Do it slowly and nothing you share like Netflix, etc. Be very careful and give no hint. Be sweet and submissive. Say you are sorry, fawn if you must. Give him no reason to think you are leaving. Don't tell anyone that isn't essential to your plan. Then once you are prepared, leave for work and don't come home or go whilst he's out. Tell him you are leaving him once you are safe and ignore him. Let him rant at your voicemail and send messages but do not reply. If you are renting together, tell him you are giving notice and continue to pay until that is up. Tell your landlord you are moving out too, so it's on record. If you have a mortgage, you'll need to keep paying your half until either he buys you out or you can sell up, but get legal advice as everywhere is different. Don't wait until you are married with kids to leave, don't wait until he puts you in the hospital to leave, don't wait until it's too late. Please get out anywhere for a couple of days. You need some space away from him to figure things out, and Google the free PDF Why Does He Do That Inside the Mind of Anger and Controlling Men. I promise it will help you. I don't believe you're fully comprehending the danger you're in. This is his restrained behavior. It's not a matter of if, but when he will cause grievous harm or death to you or one of your children should the relationship progress to that point. These are behaviors documented in murder cases or domestic violence. You need to document and record everything. Contact a lawyer or victim's advocate today to discuss your situation. This monster is sucking your life away. The way you still tried to accommodate him even though he was doing the absolutely intolerable, complaining about the food he didn't cook as if you were his mother, shows how he's grinding you down. I was married for 15 years and nothing even remotely like that ever happened. Gray rock, don't engage. Your only responses are, and, okay, regardless of what he says because he's going to turn this on you. You need to get out of there ASAP. This is never a one-time thing. You need to come up with an exit plan and get the fuck away from this man because his behavior is only going to escalate and you are in danger. You should read, Why Does He Do That? By Lundy Bancroft. Start with this. You are a person and shouldn't be treated like this. And that your reaction, getting into bed with him, is totally normal. Step 2. Then call a domestic violence hotline. They'll help you make a safety plan to leave. Do it on a phone where he can't find out, call a friend or sister or whatever to use her phone. I'm so sorry. Being stunned into submission is not healthy for you and you know it. It will take energy and determination to leave this situation. Are you financially independent? Do you have somewhere you could move? Do you have a friend you can rely on? It is painful to realize the person we think we know isn't that person at all. Getting away now will save you many years of heartache. In the long run it will be better. First is to be sure to separate your finances and change passwords. Alert the ban. That you are the only signer on the account and only you will have access to your money. Get your important papers stashed away in a place only you know. I have a feeling if you outright say what you are planning to do he will try to stop you somehow. He needs help on how to learn how to be angry in a healthy way. He should never have put his hands on you the way he did. Let it be the one and only time. Be brave. Be strong. Believe in yourself. Listen to all the good advice on here. These instances don't get better, most likely they will increase. He is clearly comfortable taking his anger out on you. That is not okay under any circumstance. Heart. In addition to the hotline, here's some information on things to think about when getting ready to leave. https://womenslaw.org/safety-planning/domestic-violence-victims/leaving-abusive-relationship https://www.womenslaw.org/safety-planning/domestic-violence-victims/leaving-abusive-relationship. Also, keep a real close eye on your birth control. If you're not on any, seriously consider starting. If you're already on it, consider using a method that he can't sabotage, IUD, injection, impla. NT, versus pills or condoms only. He can't be up your ass if either you are not there or he is sitting in jail pending a restraining order. For the love of God, please get out of this relationship. It only gets worse from here. Do you have pets? Kids? You need something to make you care. Years or months of abuse make you not care about yourself anymore. Get away from him. I'm still not the same person I was before being in an abusive relationship over 20 years and a good marriage later. I married a guy like this. It took me far too long to get away. I disagree. You don't know where to start. You do. Everyone here is telling you how. Please realize it will not get better. There are women here who have been in the same situation. Please listen to them. Get together your important documents, some clothes, call a friend or family member where you can stay, or book an Airbnb or hotel until you can find another place to live. If you have no friends or money, go to a shelter. Take a picture of your face and the house, in case he decides to wreck it and claim you did it.